Hey guys, Eric here again. I figured I would keep this kind of going, and let's get into rack stuff. So the vocal chain for me kind of comes through my SM7B made by Shure, and that comes through the Cloud Lifter. That comes over to a preamp that's in the second rack I'm going to show you, but down here it goes through a Warm Audio 2BQ, and then that goes into the Warm Audio compressor. These are clones of other rack units made by separate companies, and this is the WA76. The original is an 1176 made by Universal, but this thing does the exact same thing, and it sounds killer on vocals. Actually great on snare drum too, but I always have this hardwired for vocals. And then moving up here, I have a bunch of Furmans around the studio, you'll see, just for surge protecting all my gear. But all my drums are connected up to this entire rack unit down here by a cable snake. So all the mics are connected throughout the room to this patch bay down here. And these all go out to the preamps behind the scenes in the back of this rack unit. So we'll go up here, and these are two compressors that I use on kick and snare. So I label everything, which number that it goes into for the preamps, compressors, and EQs, and then ships out to my audio interface, which I'll show you later. Actually, this is probably good that I'm doing this because I have recollection of kind of how I connect everything, because it gets a little confusing sometimes. So, and then I use the Warm Audio Tone Beast. That's for my floor tom, I believe. And then that goes down into this amazing, this is probably my favorite preamp, to be honest. And it's the Focusrite ISA2. It's 2 channels, and these are connected to my overheads for my drum channels. They are fantastic. They sound so clear and defined with any small diaphragm condenser mic or anything, really. They sound really good on acoustic guitar as well. For a little bit of something different and some grit, I use the Joe Meek Twin Q. This is another 2-channel preamp, and I like it because it has everything. It has optical compressor, it's called an equalizer, but that's an EQ, and then the preamp, and it's got 70 dB a gain. This thing is just a beast. It's got a thing called iron mode that I absolutely love on toms, and I don't ever have to sample toms or anything like that because I have this guy right here. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my chair here. And it's great. On rooms, I'm using this compressor here, which is the FMR compressor. I just slam this compressor for rooms and it sounds awesome. On kick and snare, I use the Warm Audio, 2 of the Warm Audio units. These are the WA12s, first edition of these, and I think they're at version 2 now. But these are awesome. They sound great, and I always flip the tone switch on that, and it gives a little more grit to the kick and snare before I kind of add a sample over top of that sometimes, depending on kind of what I'm tracking. If it's more hard rock or metal, which I'm usually doing, it helps out quite a bit. Probably my favorite preamp here I use on vocals quite a bit, along with the ISA2 sometimes, is the B173. And that's a clone of the Neve 1073, which I'll never be able to afford because it's thousands and thousands of dollars. But the B173 does a fantastic job. I liked it so much that I got a second version of it down there. It's awesome. And then on snare bottom and kick out, labeled 1 and 2 here, it's the Auteur MK2 made by Black Lion Audio. I obviously like them quite a bit. And then I have another Furman because I have too much gear. So it's just another surge protector. And then I go down here. Never ever knock the Art stuff. It's great stuff. And this is a great compressor. I actually have this hooked up to my overheads. It's a Pro VLA2. And I just have them linked together so they're the exact same settings, and it sounds fantastic on overheads keeps me in check. Like I said, another B173 down here. It's fantastic. I'm shaking a little bit. I don't think I've eaten enough today. And I have the Grace M101. This is on room mics before it hits the FMR up here. And it is just awesome. This thing is so clean. I think I'm having a little bit of problems with the phantom power on this right now, so I got to get that checked out and get that back up and running properly. But right now I'm just using on dynamic mics, so I don't need the phantom power currently, so I'm getting away with it. And then down here is my headphone amp right above the patch bay. I have it labeled off to where in the studio the headphones go, so I can set everybody up differently if they so wish for their headphone settings. Then we're going to go over to the desk over here now. My blank system. Don't steal anything from me. I'll catch you. So I'm actually, a lot of people are surprised with this. These are awesome. This is the Roland Octacaptures. I have 2 of them linked for 16 analog channels. Obviously, I'm using outboard preamps, so I go line in. And they're all labeled too, so I know each of these numbers correlate to everything that's over here numbered. So I know exactly what I'm altering over here when I mess with the sound cards over here. And then over here, you can't go wrong with the fractal stuff. Fractal Axe 2. I'm not going to lie, guys. Sometimes this guy beats out my tube amps. It's crazy. They're at the Axe 3 now, but I don't think this thing's ever going to leave my studio. It's awesome. It's a good songwriting tool. And if I'm feeling a little lazy, I can track with the fractal, and people thinks like they think it's great, because this is what you hear most times. If you're going to your favorite band show, you're most likely hearing a Kemper, a Fractal Axe Effects, or a Line 6 Helix unit. Gone are the days of tube amps nowadays, and I'm okay with that, because they've come so far that the digital stuff is just as good. If Metallica can bring out fractal stuff, then there's no need to bring tube amps anymore. But they are awesome to have, and I think they're just fun to collect though, tube amps. So for bass, I don't use this much anymore. Sometimes I'll parallel out from it, but this is the Sans Amp RBI. It's a great bass tone, and it's just easy to set up and get going. And if I don't want to mic my guitar cab, right here's the 2 Notes Torpedo Live. This is a professional digital load box. So what this does is it simulates your cab, your guitar cab. So it's a speaker emulation that goes into your computer, and you can pick and choose guitar cabs right in your computer. It's a crazy time to be a guitarist right now. There's so much technology. Over here, I have a DI box and a reamp box. If I don't like my guitar tone after I throw it through a DI, I can reamp it through any one of my tube amps later on, which is fantastic. It makes things a hell of a lot easier being able to do that. I have my monitor selector. I used to have multiple monitors, but I switched. I just always ended up using the Yamaha HS8s, and these things just have never failed me. They've been perfect, spot on, constantly, and I can't mix without them anymore. I'm just so used to these in the room that it's just, I know exactly what's going on. Then over here, I splurged a little bit at the first part of the year, and I ended up buying a Mac Studio 2023. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, which is enough for me because I use other SSDs down here, made by Samsung, for a little more, a little more space, and I usually run all my projects off of that. So yeah, I've been geeking out on gear. This is more for me, I think, than anybody else, just so I have a recollection of what I was using at this time in the studio and where my mind kind of was at, and how everything's connected too, because sometimes I forget. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment or send me a private message. I love talking gear. This is my bread and butter right now. So yeah, just let me know, and yeah, we'll get chatting. Thanks.